Hi Dee, hi Emily. Okay. So I don't know if you want to, do you want me to, I want to see if I can do a co-host so I can take care of the waiting room stuff. All right, let me see. All right. We're just getting set up here and I'm going to give it a few minutes and let's go from there. I need some good waiting music. Did not prepare waiting music. Let's see.
I always think of waiting room music as like the girl from Ipanema. I don't know why.
Need a little peppiness to
Yeah.
it. Okay. All right. Jen's coming in. All right. Hey, Jen. Okay. We're just waiting a few seconds, Jen. Feel free to put on some tunes if you have any. You can see them pop up, Jenny, right? Like it comes on your side, it pops up. Okay. I was just trying to see if I could take it. It was saying make you host, but I've seen it before where it says make co-host. So then I would see that too, and then you wouldn't have to worry about that if you're talking. That's what I'm trying to do here. Um, let's see.
I did see an under that more tab, I see collaboration options, and then it's who can start a collaboration, host only or all participants.
Let's see what that means. See, I think I have to take, I don't have a, I think I have to take it back from you to do that because I don't even have that as an option because you're in charge. You're running the full show
No.
now, Jenny. I have no features.
boy.
I'm just a regular person here. I have no extra things. That's why. Is there anything that says make co-host or anything like that? Can you see anything on my name when you go to the little three dots?
I can say it says make host, so I don't
That
know
would just
if
give it back to me.
you want me to do you want me to
Yeah,
do
just
that?
do that for 1 second. I just want to see because I'm connected to the account, if there's anything that I can do there.
Oh, and I can share screen, it says still.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. All right. So let's do that because I think I put it as I think I put it as a waiting room situation. So I don't want, as you're talking, I don't want you to be dealing with that. So if you can still share screen, then that's fine. Then
Yeah.
I can just handle that. Okay. So let's just get started and then I'll let people in as they come. So welcome everyone. So I have my three trusty moms, Emily, Jen, and Dee so far. So thank you. And I know we talked about this, that this is one of those things where it's not a work related must have camera on situation. So I understand you're cooking dinner and some of us have already talked about this, that just being able to listen to something new and exciting while you're doing a mundane task like cooking dinner. Maybe that's an exciting task. I don't want to say it's not. Or doing some dishes or just kind of decompressing from the day is exciting. So this is being recorded. So we'll be sharing this out to all the families. We've been doing a lot of family engagement recently, and it's been it's been a hit or miss, spotty. We've had in person, we've had Zooms, and so we're just trying different times to see what works for people. We had a 4:30 in person yesterday or the day before. It all blends together. Jen, you were there, but I honestly cannot remember if we spoke yesterday or the day before. How sad is that? But we've been trying to offer different things. So we're very excited tonight to have Jenny and Sarah here. And they're nature-based educators, and our topic tonight. Tell me the exact title, Jenny or Sarah. Feel free to hop in, because I don't want to. It's a beautiful title, and I don't want to.
I think we went with building brains with nature.
Yes, but what we had your actual title as your educator sort of that your study that you're completing. Or
well, we're both like certified nature-based educators.
Okay, so I was right. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
There's just so many titles, and that's a pretty one, and I didn't want to mess it up. So you're certified nature-based educators, and we're excited to have you here as a special guest, because oftentimes I host the family engagement, and it's just nice to bring other community leaders in and hear a different perspective, hear a different voice. And we're excited about tonight just talking about the benefits of outdoor play for young children. So we try to do as much of that as we can at Wellkind. And I know that your school is 1000% dedicated to outdoor play, much and learning much more than we could ever do where we are in the city. But it's
always stuff to do in the city.
Always stuff to do in the city, but
there's
not
always stuff.
Do a full mudslide, in all this gear. And
I'm sure you could arrange it.
You have to find it some way, or catch crayfish in the creek, which we don't have because we're not allowed to have any type of standing water. So we have all these restrictions, and you get to do all the fun stuff. So I just wanted to give you a warm welcome and thank you for this time. And to the moms on here, thank you for your time. And again, this will be going out to all the families. So if we have any questions that don't get answered tonight, I will touch base with you both so we can get them answered for families. So without further ado, you can share your screen now.
Most disabled participant in screen sharing.
It disabled it for you?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you do need to be the host. So let's do that. That's the power. So unfortunately, if you see anybody, just you can admit them, but I won't be able to do that because I won't see it. But you're good now.
Right. Let's see. Hey. Oh.
Anybody recognize that's my guy Remy right there. That little lefty right there is my Remy Benjamin. My third.
And that's his best buddy, and they're always together, so they have a blast. So I'm Jenny, and Sarah's there as well. So we are two homeschool moms turned certified nature-based educators, and we're passionate about strengthening the connection between children and nature, because that's kind of an important thing these days. So we are the co-founders of Hemlock Hill Academy. We're located in Dalton, Pennsylvania, and we're a science and nature focused program. We operate 2 days a week. This coming year, and starting in September, we're going to have a little naturalist program for ages 4 to 5. And then we're also keeping with our current theme of elementary explorers ages 6 to 12.
So I'll take over here. So the national average right now from the National Recreation Parks Association are finding that children are only spending maybe 10 minutes a day outside, which is just astounding sometimes. Sometimes we know we get busy with life, we just can't go, okay, I gotta get all the kids into their gear. And it's by the time I do that, I've got 3 kids, I can't get them all dressed. And then by the time you get outside, you're going, someone's crying, someone has to go to the bathroom, and it's just not worth it. And sometimes you just give up and you just say, nope, not today. Maybe we'll try again tomorrow. And we're finding that more and more, and it's getting harder to just simply get outside, take the time, maybe take some times away from screens and just being outside with nature. We're finding that it's taking kids more and more time to decompress from the everyday hustle and bustle of life, just to, sit down, get a little bored, get involved with what's beneath their feet. And Jenny and I both feel very strongly that it's important to get outside, whether it's raining, snowing, 100 degrees, you find the right time of day that might work just to get outside 15, 20 minutes. It's hard, but take dinner outside when you can. Take the snack, walk down to the mailbox, a loop around your block. That's simply all you need, where you don't have to be talking the whole time. You can be just that simple hand holding with your child, bringing them back, grounding their feet, and just letting them lead the way a bit.
So I wanted to talk about 6 ways that spending time in nature really benefits our children. So number 1 is seasonally attuned. So if you can see this picture, they're in the winter time up on our special hilltop trail. And one of the things that's important about seasonality is that kids don't really pay attention to the seasons that much unless it's summer or winter, because that's total difference. And stopping to see like when something leafed out for the first time or changed color, or we saw a special bird for the first time. So those little moments, they kind of teach us about the seasons and how they change. And also, it teaches us appreciation for the weather, kind of all kinds of weather. It starts with us as parents to say, we're not going to complain about the weather or have a negative connotation to it, because that passes on to them. And then it just kind of creates hard times when you do have to go out in the weather. So we just try to be positive about it. So number 2 is healthy risk taking. So here you can see we have a little girl balancing on a log. She also has a stick at her side that's kind of blocked a little bit, but that's kind of helping her balance as well. So when we do healthy risk taking, it creates a lot of confidence in these kids. We see them do hard things with each other, and that's really awesome to see the teamwork. So risky play can be things like balancing and climbing, jumping and swinging, and lifting and moving things. So these activities engage the core strength, and they help them with their skill, like their problem solving skills, by talking with each other and coming up with solutions to their problems. So number 3 is social emotional. So here in this picture, you can see the girls are down by the creek and they are hanging out on the seesaw that we made. The girl on the left, she is the heavier one on the bottom. So the other girls are trying to stack as many things as they can to balance out the weight. So for them, they're communicating a lot about what's heavy, what's light, like how could we get more things. They're kind of creating their own little social interaction here without any instruction from us. So they also kind of just take cues from nature and come up with fun games to do. So the grounding energy of the earth is calming, which comes in the emotional part. They get to awaken our senses and our sights and our sounds with our environment and really connect us with the planet. Sarah, you're on creativity.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to pop. This one just disappeared from my screen. Can you
the
grab
creativity?
That?
Yeah. So number 4 would be creativity. So here on this picture, we have set up this little weaving station, and the girls are learning how to weave string in and out. And they're also, eventually they're going to add some sticks and some grasses and flowers and different things as it builds and builds. But so nature naturally provides children with materials to create art. They oftentimes invent games to play together and instruments. So we have kids that will create a drum set, and then all of a sudden they're putting on a musical for each other. And imaginative play comes out naturally. They oftentimes form their own games together. It's just a fun little language they have together.
With that, though, yeah, go ahead. Sorry. I wanted to put in is that it takes time. You go, oh, we set this up. It takes more than 10 minutes. They'll stare at it, they'll walk away from it. You have to let time, and it has to be on their thing. We expect this perfect, beautiful hanging to appear. It might not, and it has to be okay. And that's, it teaches them that nature is not perfect. They don't have to be perfect. It can be their own creation. And it may take 3 weeks for a project like this to be finished. And each child will come up and add their own 2 little cents. And initially they get all excited about doing it, and then they kind of go, and then 2 weeks later, it's like, we have to finish this. And they get so excited, and it's letting them have that excitement and then have that downtime, and then they build back up to it, which Jenny and I have found is they'll think of something. They come back into a classroom space, and they'll go off and they'll talk with a friend or a buddy, and then they think, oh, I could actually put the stick in there this way, and they come back to it, thinking of different objects that they found along a walk, or out and about in a different space. And they just bring that into it. It's so awesome to see these kids use different senses to do these things.
Yeah, definitely. Also, there's no set in stone to play. They make it up as they go and they do it together, and I think that's really fun too.
We definitely have found that nature is known to reduce stress in children. It reduces stress both in Jenny and myself. And as Jenny has said, it provides a grounding effect. Children, when they're scrabbling about in the dirt and in the muck and mire, our initial reaction is, oh, I'm going to have to wash that out. But for them, for children, it really helps improve the microbiome diversity. They interact with local plants, obviously safe ones. They interact with, local animals. They learn, what is around in their environment. Even if it's potting a plant that's, if you're not able to be in an environment like Jenny and I are able to provide, if they pot a plant like a pansy, they can break apart the soil and see the root system. Simply seeing, using native plants to do that. You can do that in a more inner city setting. Getting into those, let them get dirty under their fingernails. It's okay. It'll wash out eventually. And if not, it just helps them out.
It does.
We always say mud is good, dirt is better. Don't go home clean. And we do tell parents, you have to get on board with that. Don't say, ooh, don't get this dirty today at school. They love to get dressed up, but it's really better when they come to school with a little rip in a pant or something like that. So they know it's okay for that outfit to just be used and abused.
When we're also reminding them that, like, mom knows you're gonna get dirty today. Like, we
Yeah.
have to remind them that it's okay, and we've been given permission. So, and also I believe that if you're coming from, if you kind of keep your kids in a sterile environment all the time, if they come out of that environment and they are surrounded by whatever's in nature, things get a little weird, and something might come up that didn't come up in your other sterile environment. So with nature, it's nice to just be introduced to a lot of different things, and our body kind of connects with everything around us. So that's cool.
And we definitely know nature cultivates joy. These children, obviously, they have a blast. They have a grand time, whether it's just being with each other, or walking off by themselves and enjoying looking up at the sky, or, going face down in the dirt and just getting a good sniff of the earth. We had one the other day, was just smelling the dirt. We even asked, I think we did it in a moment, we said, what does this smell like? We opened a jar of soil, and we said, close your eyes and just take a little sniff. And Jenny and I, we simply wrote it down. And that's something you definitely can incorporate into the youngers. What do you smell? It can smell different than the person you're sitting next to. And does this earth smell different than this earth? We had coffee grounds. I think we had one say like vanilla pudding. I mean, things that it associates back to themselves. Children just, I think this was one of our students' first time catching her own crayfish. And we've had a lot of those first this year, and they all remember the day they caught their first crayfish or seen a special bug or an insect. And it's, a time for celebration. I mean, woohoo, we found our first one of the year. There's simple things like finding a pile of leaves, being allowed to jump in them, threading leaves on a piece of yarn, making your own version of, peace flags that flap in the breeze, letting them play in the snow, doing whatever they want, getting a little bored in the snow, going ahead and splashing in all those puddles and see who can get the wettest, who can get the messiest. And then obviously the joys of summer, where you can catch butterflies, you can catch moths. Sometimes you even catch a few bumblebees, and you learn the hard way that how to take care of them. But I have to say, we had, even just yesterday, we just were all lying down in the sunshine and looking up at the clouds, and then we were all flipping face forward and just taking a little 1 foot square of earth and seeing what was in that. You can see a lot of things with a simple handheld magnifying glass and what is actually in there, but it takes time. You have to give them a good 10-15 minutes to actually go, oh, I actually see something move. But Jenny and I find that very satisfying.
So I wanted to give you a couple resources about starting today to kind of enjoy nature with your own children. So you can visit the local state parks website, so dcnr.pa.gov, and you can look for state parks near you. Oftentimes they have creek access or lakes and lots of great hiking areas, picnicking areas. And then you can also find community playgrounds that have a creek access and forests. So I have on here Hillside Park in Clark Summit and South Abington Park in Clark Summit. They're kind of the closest to me, so I know I frequent them often to go in the creek and to go in the forest there.
We definitely say do it together. So if you can make it, even if it's start small, say, oh, we're going to do it 6 times a year. We're going to get the whole family going, just the family. You're going to maybe try and find the park that doesn't have the playground first, where you can actually go park at the other end, do the walk first, be together, walk to the end, play at the park, and then walking back. So it's not just that immediate revving them up and being on the playground. The other thing I always say is maybe make a special trail mix that the whole family adds something in that they each love, and it becomes sort of that tradition of, we're going to make our family trail mix of whatever happens to be, whether someone wants to throw in marshmallows and someone wants to throw in blueberry almonds. Every part of each person of the family adds something that they enjoy. And we say, it's not hard to get appropriate gear. Make sure that the children know, hey, these are the pants, they should come back dirty. It's okay to have holes in them. We do, so the great little overalls that are just like click up, and they're they're waterproof, a little bit of dirt proof. Kids seem to really enjoy those. You can find them secondhand, you can find them firsthand off of Amazon or what have you. The kids seem to love those, and they're easy to get in and out of. And make sure they have appropriate footwear, closed-toed shoes. They don't stub their toe as easy as they can. That's about. And just making sure that you yourself are appropriately dressed.
Yeah, and that kind of goes hand in hand, especially when the weather kind of gets questionable. But just having extra clothes is very helpful, even if it's like by the time you get to the car, if you have to change, then that's okay, and just try to enjoy it together.
Mm-hmm.
So as we get ready for questions, I just want to say thanks for having us on. We really love sharing our passion with you guys, and this is a little new to us. Like, it's been a year and a half that we've been working on this big project. So we're happy to have someone who wants to learn more about it. If you are interested in our nature-inspired programming, As they get older, we offer the 2-day-a-week nature-based learning program for ages 4 to 12. And then we have our open house this weekend on Saturday from 1 to 3, where we're going to do an information session and then also a tour of the grounds. Does
Awesome.
anybody have any questions?
Anybody have questions today?
Well, maybe I might speak. This is Jen.
Yay.
Hi, how are you?
Jen.
So I guess what I want to ask is, props to you. It's Earth Day on Saturday, isn't it?
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
So it all just makes sense, right?
Yeah. You think these aren't chosen specifically with,
Yeah, right.
come on, we tie things in.
You got it. You're on point. When you so maybe I missed it because I am trying to work and listen at the same time. But so is this just like another, like, I guess a day program for children, like schooling? Like, I'm just a little maybe confused. So it's like 2 days a week, right?
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
kind of run on like a hybrid homeschooling right now.
Okay. Okay.
So it's homeschoolers that want to do a little bit of a hybrid learning
Okay.
outside
Okay.
of, and then going forward next year, we're going to be going down to ages 4 and 5.
But
Okay.
Elizabeth's children go to CCA and they are able to attend. So
Yeah.
that's a
So-
really awesome avenue for getting kids outside and still being able to do an online. So it's
Yeah.
wonderful to be able to know that that's an option.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also you have summer camps too, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, so the summer camps, and so I stumbled upon it myself just last year when they were getting started, and for like Sarah saying, it works right now for us because of the
Mhm.
ability to have that combo of an in-person experience such as this,
Yeah.
which is meaningful for me. The
Yeah.
reason, and I don't know about Dee or Jennifer, if you know this, but I didn't have a nature-based learning experience at all. So they have been so gracious to explain all of what this gear is even for, which I know, Dee, like you are like a pro, you guys are campers, you got all this stuff, but I was like,
Yeah.
so what is this? And I just don't know, because I was raised by a single mom. We grew up in apartments my whole life. We were in the city. I was playing with Barbies in Barbie Dream House. Like, I wasn't, things happened. Like,
Yeah.
my mom is afraid of bugs. She will scream so loud when, a water bug or anything comes up. So she really kind of put that in me. And that's why I'm trying not to pass that on to my kids. And putting them in something like these types of experiences, because at Wellkind, as you know, we can do things, but we definitely have different licensing blockers, such
Yeah,
as we can't have standing water. So even on a water play day that we do, we cannot have any baby pools or anything that the children could sit in the water or swim, where they can be in the creek and or creek, whatever and be catching things,
crayfish, crawfish, whatever.
crawfish.
Yeah.
I even mix those up. I have to ask, like, what exactly is this? So but it doesn't always have to be. I think that's nice for it to not be in our comfort zone sometimes too, and we can just say, hey, this is a limitation that I had as a child, and I don't want my children to be limited in this way, because I do enjoy nature and I do find great peace in nature, but my children are far more capable than I am in nature. And I'm okay with that right now. They're pushing me out of my comfort zone. So, but yeah, I think there's a lot to learn here. And I thought it was an important opportunity for us to kind of blend our philosophies, because there's a lot, I share all of the philosophies that they do at Hemlock Hill. It's just we're not able to live them out in the way that they are able to, for physicality reasons, for, again, certification reasons. So there's just a lot of different reasons. But I think it's important to hear what's out there and to just be encouraged by what you're able to do in simple ways, and just to know that there's resources out there to learn more, to do more. It's just, it doesn't have to be, that way. I still, again, I still have to push myself to say no outside, because I was a very indoorsy. I have a sweater that says indoorsy because that's how I was, I was raised indoorsy, and there is an indoorsy and there's an outdoorsy, and it's not necessarily, it's something you're kind of.
I
There's
literally.
there's so many more good opportunities, like all the state parks they have. The one that we work with a lot, he will come. They're there. They are paid for by all of us. So
Yes.
they're more than happy to put educational programs together and bring things to you, or you can do a field trip outside
And we
of
are,
school.
yeah. So we
Yeah.
partner with Tony as well. So we have two
Yeah.
things coming up. We're going to be doing, just for families, I don't know if we've gotten this out far, we're going to be doing kayaking,
Oh, wow.
offering kayaking for families. And then we have a nature-based literacy event,
Oh, wow.
April 30th, and then something else in May, another one, the Mother's Day weekend. So again, that's trying to push outside of our own comforts. But for me, I know that I'm not the only mom that has had this experience of not really having those opportunities. And with 3 boys, I feel like they deserve a little more. And my husband grew up in a city as well, so it was, a bigger city. And so, playing soccer in the street, the concrete street, was kind of like the extent of outdoors. And so I think we're in a beautiful area where we do have a lot at our fingertips, that I think we don't even often know about. And it's free, like you said. It's just about bringing your meal outdoors.
Yeah.
I really love your snack mix idea, your trail mix idea of everyone contributing. That's an amazing idea. And that's definitely something that
Are you guys allowed to have class pets at school?
we are, but it's increasingly difficult to do so
How
because
about
we have a
termites?
fish. What was it? Did you say
They
termites?
look it up on Etsy. It's a termite slice, and you see through the year. It's a very long project, but it's more exciting than ants. But they eat.
Interesting.
It's very cool. It's sealed. It's sealed, but it's really cool. I mean, we don't need it because we have bugs galore, but that's a way to maybe bring that excitement about a bug in
Yeah.
an enclosed space so it doesn't escape. But that's something that, definitely, we learned about that through some of our training, is you can still bring bugs inside in a controlled manner where they learn not to scream at the sight of them, where it's behind
Yeah.
glass. But that's something you guys could definitely look into.
We have ants. We've done ants, ladybugs, praying mantises. We do butterflies every year because we have a butterfly sanctuary outside. So that's just part of it. But we jumped on that idea of getting anything we could. And then unfortunately, the praying mantises are killing everything that we're outside. So we basically unleashed the praying mantises, thinking like time for them to be in nature. And then, you have to really know these things, because
I have a good,
order them from a magazine and think.
yeah, no, I have a good suggestion. You can order ladybugs from a magazine and release a bag of ladybugs.
We do, because the ladybugs are so interesting because they are not pretty at first. They're the opposite of babies. Babies are so cute and puppies are so cute, right? Ladybugs are not so cute when they're in that first stage, and then they become so beautiful. But we've released ladybugs and again, the praying mantises. We've even had memorial ceremonies for our praying mantises, because we had one that we then caught, that our school age children developed an identity with this. And then we have a little outside spot where they named their friend, and they had a little ceremony. So when he did not make it, but yeah, so we in the garden space, but it's that's the best we can do in the city. But we have a fish in one, like some fish in another classroom, but with allergy, there's a lot because they're indoors a lot. So the allergies are bigger, and honestly, the cleaning of it and the keeping it in the sanitary way that we have to for the certification, it's just, it can be hard. So I'm always kind of walking that fine line. What can we do that's gonna not become a headache in many reasons, for many reasons, or a danger for anybody. So
I'll get you a picture of the termite log. It's really cool.
I would love to see that. We used to have bunnies, and I'm talking like 14 years ago. This is before things got unfun in early learning, like when the regulations just kept getting more and more and more. But we had birds and bunnies,
wow.
and we had Easter and Peter were our bunnies.
Wow.
And they lived for like 10 years. But again, then we also have that we can't provide the outdoor setting. So is that right for the it's hard. And I don't know that termites would care so much, but the other kind of creatures, we'd rather them be living in nature than have them in a classroom where they're being maybe squeezed a little bit too hard by their 3 and 4-year-olds that just want to give them a hug. We don't know if that's good for their health.
No Lenny of mice and men is going on.
Yes, yes. Yes. Did anybody have any questions? I'm sorry, I went into my personal life story about not having enough opportunities.
I think you're doing an amazing job with being in, you're not able to, you're trying so hard to get these kids, some dirt, you're trying so hard to get these kids dirt.
Yeah. And a lot of our families are right on board. Like I said, Dee, who's on this call, she's probably, she could do a training like this as well, explaining all the things that they do, because she's constantly telling me, like, I'm always learning about their adventures. I'm always impressed by they're all doing exciting things in nature. But yeah, there's just so much to learn. So that's our hope, that little by little, we kind of add things just like you're doing, trying to add things over time and see what works, and see what maybe we can do a little better. Our garden, we learned a lot about our garden, and now we're moving our garden to the front yard because the backyard didn't work out so well after a few years. And yeah, it's a whole learning process, really. I learned that if you don't pick your broccoli at the right time, it flowers, and then you can't. So you don't know those things as a city kid when you would go to get your broccoli in a supermarket, and then when you see a broccoli planted, hi, Harriet. You don't get to, you learn those things, and you're like, I'll pick that broccoli on Monday morning, and it's Friday, and you come back on Monday morning, hi, and it's no longer the broccoli that you had. So we've been learning a lot. So.
Mama.
I just want to say thank you so much, Elizabeth. You give us way too much credit, but it is definitely, I was the kid who was 12 years old and telling my mom and dad at camp, I don't want to camp, I want to just go home. So now I'm like the crazy camper who single tent camps with my 9-year-old in the middle of the woods in New Hampshire. And our Melinda was a screamer. She didn't want bugs. So between you guys at Wellkind and us and the adventures we take her on, she's kind of come full circle and loves the bugs now. So
that's awesome. What do you think changed for you, Dee? If as a child, do you think at some point you realized the benefit of it just because your parents were so adamant of it or with it, or what do you think shifted?
Actually, it was funny. I was in college and I was trying to avoid in my elementary education program, I was trying to avoid taking a science class, and I was a volunteer at Bear Creek Nature Center in Wilkes-Barre on top of Bear Creek Mountain. And so I was able to weave together an assistant to the naturalist internship in addition to student teaching. And that just got me totally in. I mean, we were dissecting deer dung to get the dung beetles out. And my mom was like, you're doing what? So now it's just become just a passion of whenever we can involve nature and kids and all that. It's just who we are. So I would say it was avoiding biology class in college.
How about that? Yeah.
I actually loved biology until 7th grade. 7th grade, we learned about ticks, parasites, and that really just did it for me. And then, but I strived to get over that. And then as a college student and with my friends, went off to Hickory Run State Park to we did hikes, and I got bombarded. I was covered in them. They didn't attach. I just lost it. So I'm trying really hard between the ticks and fish hooks. I can't go fishing because I'm terrified of hooks. I don't know why. I just have very bad images of just the hook going
The
through
hook.
it, and oh God. But other than that, I mean, I really try to get Wyatt involved in outdoors and at least gardening. He's outside playing with his lawnmower now,
Oh.
and yeah, so like I don't know. We strive for that, and I want him to be comfortable in nature and enjoy it. And it's just for me, it's a little harder.
It is. I think things get so sensationalized too with ticks and things like that. We know that they're bad at you know that
Yeah.
they're that you know you get those, they're really bad this year. And I think just that in the media, just the messaging, and then we just get so hyped up about really every, it's not just nature-based
Yeah,
things, it's a lot of things. And I think
everything.
that just runs a dialogue in our brains. I'm definitely terrified of ticks. I had one on my hand once and I thought that I was done for. That was just
Done
the
for.
end of my life.
Well, I have a good resource for ticks. So they have a tick lab down in Stroudsburg that you can put the tick into like a little baggie or a piece of tape, and you just close it up and you mail it off to them, and they do all the testing to find out if it has any diseases or not. So whenever my kids get a tick, that's the first thing I do is I send it down. That way we can get ahead of it if there is anything that comes back. So
Okay.
it's called ticklab.org. And then that way,
Ticklab.org. You know what? It's funny that you say that because my stepdaughter actually had a tick a few years ago. I found it oddly, strangely enough, on her scalp. And I didn't think it didn't seem to be engorged too long. It just seemed pretty fresh. I don't know. And we removed it, and they wouldn't even test. They wouldn't test.
It's
Someone told me,
free.
"Oh, take it to the vet." I mean, and have
No.
them just pretend it was from your dog or something, and whatever. And needless to say, we had to wait the 21-day window, see if there was any bullseye. It's just a long thing, and turns out she did get Lyme.
Oh.
Yeah, so she was on antibiotics for 21 days, and
I've
yada
had,
yada yada.
I've sent like 3 out for my son just in the past few months because it's
Oh,
like I'd
It's
rather
busy
know
season.
ahead of time than
yeah,
And the turnaround's
absolutely.
very quick and it's free. The
So
Oh, that's
what did
simple
nice.
one
that
is
again?
free, and you
What
can
is
pay
that
like
again?
$30 for the
I can put it in.
of it.
Yeah, put it in the chat if you don't mind. Now, Jenny, just so out of those three, do you mind sharing? Like, did they have anything or didn't they?
The last one did. So
Did, okay.
last week, Dylan had a tick under his armpit area, and it didn't look like it was engorged very long either. And then when I sent that one in, that one did come back positive for Lyme's.
Okay.
So then my doctor's putting him on an antibiotic just to kind of kick it before it gets started, and hopefully that'll help. But we just have to still be aware in that school, we do
Yeah.
spray like before we go out and everything, line everybody up and spray them before we go out. But still, you can't get all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's
But I
such
mean,
a bummer.
it's good to know though. I mean, out of those three, right? Two were not. So I think again, that I think people have that idea that all ticks are, gonna make them sick immediately sick.
Yeah,
So
and they test for a lot of different things too. So it's good to see like they test for that new Powhatan virus, or there's a few new things floating around. They test for like 5 or 10 different, I don't know what it is, but they send you a nice report that says for this one it's negative, for this one it's negative. So yeah, it's good to have that in your back pocket. That way, even in the future, if you have those and you can go to your doctor and say, look, he has these records of having ticks. It's possible that something, could be related there from the
yeah.
past. So
Yeah, it's that whole idea that, knowledge is power, because when I got mine, I was not doing anything naturey. I literally walked in a circle in my house, like around the house, and I came in and I got a shower and it was on my hand. So I think it must have gotten into my hair maybe because I had washed my hair. Like it was so fresh. Like I literally walked, did a circle, came inside, did that. So that just made me think, you know what? I was literally doing nothing that you could call naturey besides being outside of my house. I did
and we
one
have
loop.
like 14 acres too. So, it's not just like the school situation. It's just at home for us that's just where they
Right.
are.
Yeah. I wasn't on a hike or anything. So it just made me realize it's ever, you just have to just know, be aware. And then that's a great resource that you provided because now we can just have at least feel comfortable, because that's, I think, the misinformation, or like you were saying, Jen, you didn't know what to do, or people were giving you some wrong things, or your doctor wasn't gonna do anything about it. So that's the scary part, is like the helplessness that goes along with finding it. It's now what, and it feels like you're on this time clock and you're just don't know what to do. So that's great.
Well, thank you again, honestly.
Yeah. No. Does anybody have any more questions? I would love to. I feel like I brought it real down sad, the tick combo here, but
That's
nature's
my fault,
awesome.
sorry, but we love nature.
We love nature. All the good things. But I do think that we had a lot more people signed up tonight, so I'm thinking that we will have questions after the recording goes out to families, because I know that a lot of our families are really passionate about getting their children connected to nature, and those that aren't are curious about it. So can you also share either in the chat, or maybe if you don't have it right now, I can share it out, just your gear recommendations, because that was like a whole new world for me. I was like, what, wow, there's all this stuff. People can get all these things. And then some of the stuff that you said, like worried about getting dirty, that's not a factor when you have gear on, like you can do the puddles and the mud and all that stuff, and you're really not ruining any clothing. So that's, I think, nice too, because some families, either have just really nice clothes. They don't like have a bunch of play clothes. It's more of like, nicer things, or they don't, have the ability to just buy things all the time. So one or the other. But the gear has been just something
I always
never
think of
thought
it
I would
like
get
this.
into.
I always think of it like The Sound of Music, when she comes in and changes them into curtains, and then the kids are let free. And, and I guess that's what like sometimes proper gear does, is it just lets them go wild, and it's like, oh, I'm okay. This is all good.
Yeah. And I have this, like, I'm going to do this on when I can't, the next rainy day. I just feel like I want to open my front door and I'm going to run outside, just gear free with my kids, and just like have one of those moments where they're like, did mom go crazy? And I just want them to enjoy the joy of it. And just, I think to myself, why don't I do that? And it's like, well, then, because I have to then wash my hair again. Like there's all these things we think, like, then we have to dry our hair, or then we got all this extra laundry, and we do all that, those lists of why nots. And I don't know, at the next pouring rain day, I'm just going to link some arms with my kids and just run out and have one of those memorable moments. And I think it's been inspired by you ladies, and just like family.
It's okay to have an umbrella, though. Jenny and I are not opposed. We carry umbrellas.
I know, but I feel like I need to have one of those movie moments, but they're usually romantic moments, but we'll have just a kid moment where everybody.
Wait until it's like June or something.
I'll wait for I'll wait for the warm rain.
I did in the chat, I just put up a quick little Amazon link to a waterproof rain bib. That way you have
That's
it.
really the big thing. Yeah. The kids,
I mean, literally they'll lay
You're
on
always
the
welcome to
ground
join
and
us at
just.
camp. Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Go ahead.
I said, you're always welcome to join us if you want to rough it. We're always searching for whatever creatures are living under. We have a travel trailer, so most of the time with the 5 of us, we don't rough it as much as sleeping on the ground in tents. But we would love to have you, especially Mother's Day weekend, because we're up at the state park already when we're having the Well Kind event. So definitely any of the families, Art and I are always welcome, because we want people to see that it's complicated, but it's also simple, and it can be so much fun. And you come home a lot dirtier usually than before you left. So that makes it fun.
Yeah, we ventured out to put a tent up in our backyard 2 years ago. That was our big adventure, was we slept outside in the backyard. But then
that's big.
That's
awesome.
big. But then this year we got some, our neighbor said a black bear was out by their trash can a few weeks ago. And I'm like, there crushes my dream to do it this summer again. Cause all I need is like a black bear to be peering down when I think I'm going to be looking at stars. and I see a big black nose from a bear. But again, it's trying to balance those two parts of the brain, you know, like the rational, like this is the irrational part that's like, we're gonna get attacked by bears and stung by a million bees, and then ticks are gonna just implant my whole body. And then the other side that's like, this is good, amazing connectedness and memories and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
we have to balance. Always about balance. But thank you so much, everybody. And we have those links now, and we will put the recording out, and I have your contact information in case I need anything else. Great, Jenny and Sarah.
Yep.
You can get
You
in
know where to
touch with
find
me
us.
easily. Awesome. Thank
So
you,
much.
ladies, for the time tonight, and everybody have a great evening. It's Thursday. It's Friday Eve.
There
Thanks.
is.
Have a great night, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.
All right, take care.